Welcome to another episode of Cabin Cooking. In today's episode, we travel along as we go from highway to byway, from truck to snowcat, and then to the cabin where it's nice and warm. So I'll see you inside. We just stopped to put on the chains and off we go. Loggers working down there. Hi, Scott. We're just unloading the snowcat and getting our stuff ready to load the snowcat. Beautiful area. I missed Scott unloading off the truck, but he really likes driving around on this thing. Well, there's a couple things you have to do when you get here. You have to clean the stairs so you can get around.
That's a good job.
It's a really cute space. There's just a bit of work. Sorry, I kind of stumbled there. It's a little bit of work to get going. Gotta clean the walk up and take everything open. And here we are. So here we are inside. You can see my breath. It's so cold in here. Well, it's definitely snowing a lot today. All that shoveling is for naught. We'll have to shovel again. Welcome back to Cabin Cooking, everyone. In today's episode, we're going to be making a gluten-free pizza with an Alfredo sauce, not really necessarily bechamel, and some chicken and some broccoli. Now, of course, if you're looking to learn how to cook from me, you can watch and you might learn, but this is purely for entertainment purposes, and it's not an instructional cooking video. So do enjoy and have fun and enjoy cooking on a wood stove with me. So I've gone ahead and mixed up the dough. I'm using Bob's Red Mill gluten-free pizza crust, and I'm following the directions exactly. So I'm using water for the rise and the yeast, and then I added the oil is olive oil, and I've mixed them up, and we're just waiting now for the doughs to expand, and then I'm going to place them on some sheets and bake them in the oven. And then let it cool, and then we're going to add our toppings, and then, of course, eat. Yum, yum. I remember when I first started hanging out with Scott up here, and we went out for a bit, and I left this piece of wood here. This was covered, and I left the wood here. I'm not sure what was going on, and then I came back, and it was smoldering, because this stovetop, holy man, is it ever hot. You have to be careful. I tripped once on this thing here. This is a little lip, and it's a cement board to protect the floor. I tripped on that, and I fell into here. My bum got a big burn here, so it's a bit dangerous if you're not paying attention. I have some coconut oil in the pot. And I'm going to make a bechamel sauce. That spoon's hot, holy crap. So I made a bit of a roux with potato starch and some coconut oil. And I'm going to add some coconut milk. And we're going to see how this goes and see if it thickens the way I'd like it to thicken. I scorched some of the coconut oil, if you can believe that. That's what those floaters are. Scorched a bit of my coconut oil. Well, I was trying to set up my tripod, so that's not happening today over this very hot cook stove. Looks like there's not quite enough potato starch in there to thicken it. So I'm going to do that. Add a little bit more. Alright, I put a fair amount of potato starch in here. So I'm just going to let it thicken. And then if it's not thick enough, add more. And of course, too thick, I'll add a little bit more coconut milk. All right, I think my sauce is where I want it. I'm using potato starch instead of cornstarch, because I read that anything that cornstarch can do, potato starch can do better. So that's what I've switched to in my world, in my gluten-free world. That looks really good. I put a little bit of S&P in there and a little bit of oregano. Hopefully it'll turn out good. Well, the dough puffed up pretty nicely, so I've gone ahead and spread out one onto this cookie sheet. So this is a bigger one. This one's going to be Scott's. It's really sticky. So I really had to put a lot of oil on my hands, and then I have to wash my hands a couple times and spread it out. So if you're going to buy this stuff, you got to be prepared to oil your hands and oil the sheet so that you don't end up with half the product on your hands. Now let's see, is the oven ready for us? It looks like it is. Just going to check on the fire. It's been acting up a little bit, and I've also been keeping it a little bit lower because it's so hot in here. It's -6 outside, but I'm actually wearing a spaghetti strap top because it's so hot in here. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put this in the oven. Give it about 20 minutes and we'll see what happens. I've been waiting for this to drop off from the bed, and you can see the whole roof. And up there's a pile that's gotten all accordion, and we're waiting for it to come sliding off this roof. Really is a pretty day. Definitely cold out though. The lake is super frozen. It's kind of hard to see, but that bright white in the background, that right there is Murray Lake. Time to go out for a moment. Let's have a look and see how it's baking. Looks pretty good. I think I'm going to turn it around. Put it in for a little longer. This piece turned out nicely, and it's going to be loaded with ingredients and then pop back in the oven. This piece I went ahead and spread out over a plate, and this one will have to be going back into the oven for its pre-bake. I had my fire inspector come and redo the fire because it kept going out, so he's working on that right now and making it work so that we can finish making the pizza crust. Alright, that one's gonna go in. We'll see you soon. I've decided to throw the broccoli into the sauce just to cook it up a little bit. And I'm frying up the chicken a little bit to get a little bit browned up and warmed up. Oh, look at that. We can see the fire in there. Alright, the chicken's browning nicely. And the bechamel sauce with the chopped up broccoli is ready to go. I think I might add a little garlic, but overall it's ready to go. Let's look at our round pizza on our round plate. That looks good too. I'm gonna turn it around a bit. Give it a few more minutes. My meat-loving man came in to help me, and he left me with this pile of meat that's going on his pizza. I put the sauce onto the pizza. Tried to spread it right out to the edges. We're not a crusty place here. We like as much topping as possible. And I hear the chicken crackling, so let's go have a look at it. I think this is ready to take off the stove. So let's move this over. Place it right there. So I'm going to ornately design Scott's pizza. He loves anything I eat, so I like to make it extra special for him. What I mean is that he eats whatever I make, and he loves just about everything I make. Some of the stuff that reaches a little bit too far in the raw food world or the vegan world, he fusses a little bit when some of his sugar's missing. But overall, he does love everything I make. So I'm really grateful that he enjoys eating my food. All right, next layer chicken. But first, let's get my pizza out. Well, that looks good. Alright, I I shredded up the chicken and spread it out on there, and I'm going to add some tomato sauce. That's starting to look good. Now it needs a layer of cheese. Alright, get the rest of that on there. Scott and I watched that documentary on Netflix, You Are What You Eat, and We watched how the animals are treated in those rearing houses. They're living on top of each other, and sores and sweat knots, scars and leaky disease and stuff. It was really quite gross. And so we opted to now only eat what we catch and pretty much cut dairy out of our world. So we're just using up the rest of our dairy, and Scott's going through a bit of a transitional phase. Now it's time to pop this in the oven. Here we go. Scott's gonna love that. Well, the other one turned out great too. I decided to flip them over. I flipped the other one as well, the one that's in the oven. I flipped it over because I wanted to see what the bottom surface looked like. This one's a bit thicker right here because it's a plate that I'm using. I don't have another pizza pan or cookie sheet up here, so we're using this, and this is going to work. So I'm going to decorate my pizza now, and we'll see you shortly. All right, working my pizza. I tried to flip it over, but it didn't work. It just ended up making a big pooly mess in the middle, so I flipped it back. And I'm just finishing off with some chicken. I'm going to put some sauce on it and then some cheese. All right, I think that looks pretty good. We got to go check on Scott's pizza. It looks good, but it still needs to be in here a little bit longer until it's nice and bubbly. Well, there we have it, right out of the oven and ready for Scott. Let's slice up a piece and see what he thinks. Well, there you have it. Inquiring minds want to know. Let us know, Scott, what it tastes like. Does it taste good?
Hot.
Hot. It's a bit wet. I won't film you, I promise. Is it good, Scott?
Very good.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. My pizza is going to go in now. And that'll be a wrap for this episode of Cabin Cooking. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and until next time, stay warm. Looks like it's starting to snow a little bit. So I don't think that I'm going to get to see that slide off the roof today. The piece off the solar panels slid off. They're sitting along this front edge here, so Scott's can power up the generator or use the power in the house. He had to dig himself out a couple of times. Well, Scott's gone back to work and I've been putting things away, but I just wanted to show you my pizza. It turned out really good, and although, as I said, Scott likes everything I make, he didn't really comment on the gluten-free pizza because he's just grateful that somebody makes something for him. I found it okay. I mean, obviously wheat pizza is going to be way better, but this particular one, Red Mills, I do give it a decent thumbs up, but I would try some other ones out there before I bet my life on it. So, until next time, this was Cabin Cooking.